What's up, world? This is the Alpha Male, starting my first blog talk radio, blog talk type radio. And I don't know, I don't fully subscribe to the idea of Mgtow wholeheartedly, but I do empathize with what they're going through and how they feel towards, as far as dealing with women in today's society. So, like, first off, I believe as the alpha male, we need to, as men, we need to liberate ourselves from the possessions of female or how they think they can possess us because of the way we get into our lower parts. They know how easily they can use sex appeal to possess us mentally for a period of time. But it's so easy, well, it's not easy, but there is a way to flip it on them. Well, they think they're in power, but actually they succumb to their own selfish behaviors anyway. So because they succumb to their own selfishness and vanity, we can use that against them to ultimately get what we want, which is our own liberation. Think about this. They want to use sex appeal as far as back as anyone can remember from the beginning of time. Women use their sex appeal to get what they want, whether financially or emotionally, their own, whatever their own selfish, vain pleasures is. They can use their appeal of possibly having sex with them to their advantage. But they do that so much that they put a price on their own vagina. So what's the difference between some high-class whore slash escort versus a typical college girl that's in college that's dating I don't know how many guys on her Instagram app, her Tinder app, guys in her class. She's entertaining all of them with the idea of possibly sleeping with her. So she's no different than the escort. So I'm appealing to men. Don't cater to their ego or to their vanity. It's so hard to get men to understand this, that you can reverse this power that they think they possess if you would just ignore these women. Just ignore them, completely ignore them. They will not survive. If men just went our own way, really like you guys in Mgtow suggest, women would not survive a day on this earth. And the only ones that will survive are the ones we pay attention to. And guess what? We're only going to pay attention to them if they're offering what we actually want. No appeal, but actually offering it. So you want to put a price on your vagina? Okay. In today's society, that might be looked upon as prostitution. They do it. Whether you like it or not, they do it on the low. Or however you want to call it, it may very well be viewed as prostitution. But guess what? We're going to play their game and change the words. And we're not looking for prostitutes. We're tipping escorts for their time. That's what it is. Now, me, as an alpha male, living in New York City where the men are becoming more and more effeminate due to these feminists and just the women completely infiltrating life in the society as we know it. I never thought I'd be in this position. I'm a former athlete, college ball player, slash military veteran. Come on. I never ever thought I would be in a position where I have to contemplate entertaining the thought of being with an escort. It makes me laugh just thinking about it. But the further this society is going, the more it does make a bit of sense because they want what they want selfishly, and we want what we want selfishly. So why not the people that really have what they want in mind come together and get what you want? And then after that, leave me alone. Don't bother me. To be honest, every single man in here, or that views any man on this planet, ultimately what they want, just to eat good. We can, we have complex minds, but the fact that we're critical thinkers allows us to simplify things down to simple form. So we're not simple-minded, but we're able to simplify things. And when we simplify things to a more practical thing that we can grasp, practical or tangible thing that we can grasp, we basically want the basics. We want to eat good. We want to relax. We want to find things that appeal to us that will allow us to relax. So when we do have to get out and go work, we'll be energized or rejuvenated to go back into the work field and work hard to make our living. So basically, we want to make a living where we can eat good, relax, and of course, enjoy the fruits of our labor. One of the fruits of our labor that I realize is our kids. If we can't deal with these women, we still need, human nature still needs to reproduce itself. So we need to be fruitful. So we're going to have to interact with them in a certain way in order to have our offspring to carry on our legacy, you know. But the thing is, the whole idea about marriage nowadays and being trapped into a system, I've experienced it, and that's not the way to go. But you have to deal with certain women to a certain extent until you get them open enough where they can bear your child. And then you have to spend your most energy being in your child's life. That's the main thing that we want. The resulting fruit of our labor is how we bring our child up so they don't succumb to this feminist world of destruction that is placed upon us right now. We have to go through this now in order to break away, in order to allow our offspring to be able to break out of this cycle, start all over. But as of right now, this is what we're in. We're thrown in with all the wolves and vultures, and as I like to refer to women as pigeons and birds because they flock. Literally, you can throw breadcrumbs down on the ground, and if it's appealing enough, one pigeon will come to it, and then here comes the rest of the flock. They just flock to one thing, like birds, pigeons to be exact. But anyway, the point I'm making is when we narrow it down, simplify things, we have to be able to deal with the woman to a certain extent. That's why I don't fully subscribe to the idea of Mgtow because we can't necessarily go our own way because we need the world to keep revolving, and it revolves around reproduction and evolution. We need the world to evolve on that, and evolution revolves around reproduction, you know. So we need them. That's why I don't subscribe to any homosexuality or anything like that. Even though two women together is beautiful, a beautiful sight, I don't subscribe to that. And that's human nature to actually, or it's mature of a man to actually be able to admit his faults. You may be attracted to a lot of people, oh, I was born gay. Come on now. Admit to your faults. That's the only way you can better yourself anyway. So I'll admit two women together is a beautiful sight, but I still do not subscribe to that lifestyle because it doesn't promote growth. You can't grow, a seed can't grow if it's not fertilized. So you can't reproduce anything with two seeds. You need the seed and the fertilizer. Well, as far as women are concerned, our seed is the fertilizer to her eggs. So, I mean, that's human nature, and we need that. So, I don't subscribe in fully going our own way, but we can manipulate the system. As men, we are survivors. We know how. All we have to do is figure this thing out, and I feel like I figured it out as an alpha male. I figured out how to take control of this, and I spent so much time in the beginning just initially trying to make my point, but actually how to do it to support my point is we subscribe to the idea of escort, quote unquote, not prostitution, but tipping escorts for their time, and we'll just leave it at that. So, in the process, because all we want is to fulfill our simplified needs and wants, and like I said, it's food. You know, we want to eat good, we want to live good, enjoy the fruits of our labor, and we need sex to be exact, explicitly exact. We need that to rejuvenate us, to prepare us to go out and make our living so we can enjoy the fruits of our labor. And we don't need the excess nagging, we don't need the excess mind games and the excess pettiness that women bring. But we can deal with it to a certain limit, and then when we reach our limit, we as males reach our limit, we dismiss them, that's it. They're on our time. That's how we have to view this. They're on our time. And because they subject themselves to be objectified so they can gain their financial gain or whatever their vanity is, they are basically placing themselves in the palm of our hand. And you don't even realize that. You can get any woman to do anything. It's a matter of time, depending on how much time you feel like spending on with her or how much resources or money you decide to invest in her. And a lot of women are not looking like anything worth investing in. Some are. But in your quest of looking for that, those very few gems that are worthy of being invested in, you're going to have to still manage a certain amount of time spending alone because you can't spend all types of hours out the day searching for a woman. That should not be the majority part of your day. So, you spend a little time on your quest dealing, talking, socializing with certain women, like a normal person would do, interacting with women. And it gets so frustrating because you want what you want at the moment, and they're playing all these crazy mind games. But you know what? Let these women play their little mind games because it's getting them nowhere. But let them do it. And all the while they're doing it, you just go tip your escort of choice for her time spent with you. Because those are the women, the escorts are the women that really make the world go. They're like the oil that lubricates the engine. While the engine is getting hot and heavy and revving up, trying to where the rest of the body of the vehicle can work, it's getting hot and it needs to be lubricated. That's a great analogy, but those escorts are there. That's why lately I've been subscribing to that idea. All in your quest to eventually find a suitable woman where you can reproduce. And even when you find that suitable woman, these relationships don't seem to last long anymore. So your ultimate goal is maybe not even to just be with her forever and ever like some fairy tale, but it is to reproduce where you can have a legacy and you can instill your views and values that you foresee the future. You can instill them into your offspring, and they can carry out your legacy. But you can't do that if you don't have the vehicle to carry for 9 months. So I'm saying this over and over. We can't really fully go our own way because we have to reproduce to keep this world going. But I'm saying in the meantime, while these quote-unquote good women or qualified women, whatever they call themselves, because they are only that for a certain amount of time, but we can't even be too concerned about them. They have to possess a few qualities that only you can figure out is suitable, that compatible with what you're looking for. So when you do find out one or two, then you basically do your thing as far as like getting them to the point where we're talking about having kids. That's going to be another story for another day to even get to talk to them that way, to get them in that mind frame. It's possible. And without even subscribing to the idea of marriage, it's more like a business kind of deal where you're like, look, I possess this, you possess this, if we come together, we can make this. And who knows, we can have the next LeBron James. That's my viewpoint, and that's how I talk to the women I deal with right now. Like, we're trying to make something for the future. But while I'm trying to groom them into that, you better believe I'm not wasting my game or my energy on these other women that are just will take you for a spin in New York City. It's no point. The amount of money you waste, the amount of money and time you waste on these women, you might as well just talk up, count it as a loss, like you pay your bills and count it as a loss. You know, this is my expenses as far as for my engine lubrication. That's what they're going to be considered. They're the lube to the heating engine. So they actually do help make this world go round. They do help make the pistons in the engine. So in this first, I guess you would say, blog talk, just to sum it up, I am an alpha male, and I believe wholeheartedly that. Look at the architecture of New York City skyline. That was done by men, developing of science and mathematics, just to come up with a concept, the physical concepts of electricity flow. That's what I study at school. You don't see too many women even thinking about how the world, the laws of physics even apply to life. They don't even think in those terms. They just think, what do I want? When can I get it? They are so simple-minded, even though they are the ones that who appear so complicated, but really they're the most simple-minded creatures who are just here for their own vain, selfish gain. But we're gonna ignore them on a day-to-day basis. Select few that you offer your time to, and that's only for the reason of grooming them to create your offspring, so you can carry on your legacy. All the rest of these women, you have to be no, no, just say no. A woman comes up to you smiling and trying to entrap you into her friend zone. You just ignore it, just dismiss it, just keep walking. How you doing? How you doing? See you later. That's it. Leave it at that. Do not engage with these women. You have your select few that you engage with. The other ones, you can easily, I don't know if I'll get in any possible trouble for this, but you can easily find some woman for the moment on that page. Yes, I said. Okay, now you do your research on that. But the amount of money you spend wasting on dates and all sorts of other expenses in hopes of getting laid by some airhead chick who's selfish and vain and just using you for a come up and probably will just lead you on to the point of your weakest point and then drop you anyway. Don't even play that game. Ignore them. Ignore them. Ignore them. I can't stress that enough. If more men did that, then you will find them turning themselves around, because another topic we'll get into later is this whole idea these feminists want to project this rape culture that's going on, as if we just want to take women's vagina from them. Like, that's not, most sane men do not want that. All we want is a mutual attraction. But if we have to fight too hard to get it, then I say ignore them. If you want to put a price on your vagina, okay, we're going to talk about that. And we're just going to, we're going to let you call it however you want to call it. But we're going to call it tipping, tipping an escort for her time spent. Now, whatever you do in that time, you can define it however you want to define it. But that's the legal way of saying it, okay? But as far as men wanting to rape women, sane men do not. So that is a myth. There's no rape culture going on. This is just attention whores starving for attention, and will use any, because of the fact that more and more men are ignoring them, they're using these kind of things to provoke us men. But you know what? I feel like it should just provoke us to ignore them even more. If you ignore them, how can they even say you're trying to rape them? You don't want to rape you. Women are beautiful. It should be a mutual attraction where love making is just like a beautiful thing. It's not beautiful if you want to take it from somebody. And that's coming from an alpha male, a male that loves to dominate a woman sexually. But I only want to dominate a woman sexually if she wants it. If she wants me to. If she asks, if she begs me to. Alpha male, please come on my face. Yes. Yes, okay, I'm doing it. That's the kind of dominant male I am. Not a man. You're not dominant if you're attacking a weaker vessel, exploiting her weakness like that in that manner. I only want to dominate you if you allow me to. But a lot of women, they got the whole gang mixed up as if they are the dominant ones. They want to try to dominate us and string us along with their sex appeal. And it's just backwards. It doesn't work like that. And as an alpha male, I'm proving it's not going to work like that. And we're going to change the way we operate. And the more and more listeners that buy into this alpha male movement, now I can empathize with you Mgtow males, but I feel like a lot of you men are beta males. Like you just want to completely give up and fall into your little shell. No, an alpha male is going to adapt and adjust and find a way to survive in this world. That's why the farthest thing from my mind was dealing with escorts until I lived in New York City for a long enough period of time where I figured out how superficial everything is in this world. And it's basically the same way all across the world, but maybe in smaller scale, smaller magnitude. But it's extreme in New York, so I was forced to have to deal with this issue and come to terms with being okay with donating a little of my expenses towards dealing with an escort. But with dealing with escorts, you can handpick the ones you want to deal with, and then you can just dismiss them when you're done with it. So screw it, just do it. It's all about being mature and going about it a safe way, and getting checked regularly. But that's a part of a man's life anyway. You want to be healthy and go to the hospital and clinic and get checked. Why would you even be talking about sex and anything if you're going to be irresponsible? So being a responsible male, I mean, that's not the subject here. The subject is how to deal with women in their selfish, vain ways nowadays. And I think I pretty much covered it in an unorthodox way. But the more and more I get used to this, the more intriguing this idea of the alpha male will become to you guys. But anyway, I think I did a good enough job right now, so I'm out for now. I would just like my subscribers that I gained. If you do subscribe to anything in this blog that I talked about, and you can kind of see the direction I'm trying to take this, and you have your own input that you would like to suggest, leave them in the comments. And you can also subscribe to my channel, and when I get the engine up and running, you can donate to my engine. That way I can keep this movement going and get it even bigger, take it to a bigger platform. Right now, it's just, whatever YouTube listeners that gravitate towards this idea, we're a team, we're in this together. We're not going to go our own way. We're going to grab the bull by its horns and take control of this situation like an alpha male would. Alright, peace. I'm out.